Back with another episode 8 here, and this is actually one of the episodes that I think is, you know, central to why I started this podcast series in the first place. The person that I'm talking to today, she is a part of Greek life on the campus that she goes to. She's in a sorority. She's a senior. She's also 21. She's a psych major and plans on being a criminal and or child psychologist later down the line in her future. Um, Generally, what we ended up talking about was her involvement in sorority life. I actually knew her from my freshman year on. She's a close friend of mine, and I know that it has had a huge impact on her life. So what I wanted to do was get her perspective on it, how it's played a role in her life, and kind of just get a better idea of what being a part of you know at least for her, what being a part of Greek life did for her, and the role it played in her life. And other than that, the regular shenanigans of talking. I know this episode's actually kind of late, or like it's been a long time since I've posted one. I did episode 7, I think, like 2 weeks before recording this one. That's just because the person that I was supposed to work with was on a really, really tight schedule, and then on top of that, I was also on a tight schedule. You know what happens? We're college students. We have a lot of things that we're juggling, and unfortunately, I just didn't get time to record with him. So, what I did was, for now, I'm going to be moving on. I recorded this episode with the guest that's in the sorority. The next week, I'm going to be recording with someone who is actually a part of a fraternity. He will be telling me his perspective on Greek life and how that's impacted him. Kind of get, the other gender's perspective on it. Given that they are from very different backgrounds, like their specific association with those groups, but nonetheless, like I'll be getting an idea, or you'll be getting an idea from both sides. And then after those 2 episodes are done, I'm going to go back to the person I was supposed to record with last week so I can get his story out. And then I'll, get back into the pace of things, try to get one out a week again. Other than that, what I realized is a lot of these episodes, I can't get them up on the apps as fast as I can get them up on YouTube, just because as of right now, my uploading plan is only like 250 megabytes, which is like, given that these podcasts are like an hour long each, are only like 3 episodes. So, slowing down the pace a little bit. I want to get everything up at the same time on all the different platforms. So it's not really a big deal. I'm kind of happy about that. I'm going to slow it down a little. And on top of that, like, I have a lot of tests that are coming up, and I gotta pass school still. So it is what it is. Other than that, I actually have really exciting news. Is that my 21st birthday passed on the 26th of October. That's not the exciting news. You don't need to care about that. But my friends, awesome people, I love them. They actually went out of their way and they bought an entire box of customized Unmapped t-shirts. They just have the Unmapped logo, which is everywhere on the website. They have it. It's just on the shirt. It's clean. It's a plain white t-shirt just with the logo on it. And what I'm going to be doing is anyone that's on the show, tells me, comes on the show and tells their story, gets it across. I'll be giving them one of the shirts, just to help, brand awareness and like get the name of this podcast out more. And on top of that, I'll actually just be, telling them to help support the show. If you've been following the page for a while, you probably know that, being a college student and trying all this stuff isn't the easiest. I don't have any, supporters yet, and I don't have anyone really helping out with that. So if anyone wants to support the show, you can do it that way. And if not, you don't have to. Just listen to the podcasts and enjoy. For this one in particular, if you know anyone who, is a part of, or, is thinking of being a part of sorority life, share the YouTube video, get it out there. I think it's some of the stuff that she says in our recording, in our talk. I think it's crucial information to know, especially for those who are, maybe freshmen or sophomores in college who, kind of go into it blindly and think it's going to be, all like butterflies and flowers and like beautiful and like fun. She gives both sides of like the positives and negatives of, her experiences. And I think it's something that could definitely help out people who don't know what to expect. So yeah, on that note, enjoy our talk.
I'm actually a psychology major.
Oh, I do know that. I
Yes.
do remember that. Okay. I thought were you psych in bio or were you just psych?
I was actually originally
What is that?
I was originally a psych pre-med.
Okay.
And then I dropped the pre-med title to
Okay.
just do psych.
Why'd you drop the pre-med title? It wasn't about that.
I mean, I think because my entire life I wanted to be someone, I wanted to do psychology and get a PhD, but then as reality kind of set in, I realized like maybe that wasn't the most realistic goal for me, so right now it's just a BS in psych and we're going to see how that goes.
BS and stuff. When did you decide to go into psychology?
I've pretty much known that I wanted to do psychology for the majority of my life because there was never anything really. I mean, the only other option I had was being a marine biologist, and then I realized I can't
marine
swim.
biologist.
I
can't swim either.
Yeah.
Hey.
Like I realized that was so unrealistic that because I can't swim and I still do not know how to swim.
Me neither.
But I think
it's a skill. We need to learn how to swim.
Yeah. Like I really want to work with animals, but then I realized that maybe that like it's not attainable, and then I realized that I have a lot of interest in people, and especially in like children and criminals.
Okay.
So that's where I kind of want
children and criminals. They're about the same thing.
They're very extreme things, but
no, but I think if you can, because I have a little sister who's 5 now. And if you look at like the mental processes of a 5-year-old, and you also look at like the mental process of a criminal, like a child will do the same thing where they're trying to kind of cover their tracks if they do something wrong, and like you trying to figure out their mental process.
Yeah,
it's the same. I think same.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason why. Well, I mean, because like one, I'm someone who really loves crime. So like my favorite TV show, Law and Order SVU. Like I've always found, as corny and as lame as that sounds, I've always found myself like kind of drawn to that area. And with kids, it's just because like they're so unpredictable and like they say the darndest things, they do the darndest things. Yeah, they really do.
No, I know. My sister, she does that all the time. Like, I mean, given that I was 18, 17. How do I not know how old I was? I was whatever, senior in high school when my sister was born. Like my sister's a lot younger than me. Like I've seen her like go from literally a fetus to like being a capable toddler. Right. And like I've seen her like, adapt to like learning things and like figuring out right from wrong. And it's really, really interesting seeing a brain develop and like see, how it establishes a baseline of, what they see as right or wrong and like how to make decisions and such. Like
it really intrigues me how some kids can be shaped and molded to be like fantastic people, and then there are some kids who turn out to be like assholes. Yeah, and like that has always been something. I mean, it's a big debate in psychology. It's nature versus nurture, and that's why like I feel like that's something that will always be debated. So there's always gonna be something to do in that area. Which side are you on, nature or nurture? I honestly feel like it's a little bit of both. Okay, that makes sense. I don't think it's either one side or the other. Being someone like. I guess also like another reason is also because like me being the youngest, but I also was not allowed to be the youngest because of things that happened in my life. I had to grow up really fast. Right. So like that part of the nurture part kind of made me the person I am today. But I also feel like there are a lot of things that were like kind of predisposition, right? And which also like shaped me to be the person I am today. I mean that makes sense because there's I always think about this when I'm stressed out. Is that like I always tried to not you know me since freshman year, like I try my best not to be stressed. Yes. I try to go with the flow as much as I like physically can, but mentally I will always be stressed. And last summer when I went back home, my parents moved recently, so they've been having like a lot of financial trouble. So like they're like always stressed. But like even before, like I started just thinking about it and like thinking about like my dad. My dad is like constantly in a state of anxiety. Like he's stressed for no reason every single day. Right. And I realized, like, no matter how hard I try, it's like I always have, like, that little bit of me that's, like, gonna be stressed because, like, that's just how, I turned out to be. That's just my genetic coding is like that. Yeah. I completely agree. I feel the same way. Like, my mom is, like your dad. And, like how I am as a person, I'm always worrying about something. Yeah. I always feel like there's something that has to be done. Like, my to-do list is never complete. Mine either. Like, I can cross out a million things, but I can also add on a million things. That's exactly how it should be. Yeah. So when did you originally want to get into marine biology then? I mean, that was like kind of like an 8-year-old's dream. Oh, okay. Like one of those things where it's just like, oh, I want to be like, it's like when the kids like, they ask you in like 3rd grade. Right, and they're like, oh, I want to be president of the United States. But for me, it was like, I wanted to be There was always one kid that said that. Yeah, like for me, it was I wanted to be a marine biologist. That's pretty specific. Pretty specific though. I don't know why. I think maybe because like I had some like weird drawn to like dolphins and whales and things like that, so I wanted to like study them and kind of get to know because I knew that they were very smart animals, but I mean, the reality set in that I can't swim, and I have a big fear of open water.
Okay.
Like, as I grew up, and I realized, like, that's...
No, I have that fear, too.
Yeah, it's not...
I don't know if it's not a fear of, like, I don't know how to describe it. It's not a fear of, like, drowning as much for me, because, like, I've gone in the water. So, like, I've gone upstate, and we went to Skinny Atlas Lake.
Right.
And, I mean, it's a huge lake, and it's open water, and we went out in a boat, and we just, went swimming and stuff.
Yeah.
And I went in the water. I wasn't afraid of drowning. I was afraid of just, like, being, like, kind of set out to sea. Like, it's just, like, slowly just
like
dying.
drifting off.
Yeah, just drifting off. Like, that was a weird feeling.
Like, my biggest fear is drowning. I have such an irrational fear of drowning. Like, in high school, I had to take swim gym. And so it was mandated that, like, of course, you had to dive off, like, the deep end and stuff. And so I would literally have anxiety every time we had, like, our diving test. And I would literally, like, write on my arm, like, water is not something to be feared of. And I would look at it, like, it's so stupid, but I would look at it and be like, you were not dying today.
Right.
And
it's true, because I've had this problem, because a bunch of my friends are lifeguards.
Right.
And every time I'm in water, they go, just let go, just relax.
Yeah,
You'll float. I'm like, nah, like, you don't float. That's not a thing. Because as soon as I'm in the water and I start drowning, I'm panicking.
Like, I tense up. Like, I don't know, like, how you can... Like, for you to tell me to relax is a very easy thing. But I cannot do it myself.
So it's been 2 summers in a row that I've gone upstate. And, like, the main thing that we do is, like, since the summer, we go swimming. So we go to the pool or we go to the lake. In the lake, obviously, I can't just jump in without a life jacket. But I do jump in with a life jacket. It's really fun. It was really scary. The first time, like... I think it's more recent that I'm not scared of drowning because of the fact that I had that experience. Because the first time I went, there was a point, I remember this, everyone's like, yo, jump in. Like, I was the only one on the boat. And they're like, oh, come on, just, like, jump in. You have a life vest on. Like, you'll be fine. And I'm, like hanging on to the edge of the boat. And I'm like, no, like, this is literally, like, I am scared to go in the water. Like, even if I know that this technology, like, a life vest will, like, prevent me from drowning, there's still a part of me that was like, I won't survive in this.
Yeah, I mean, I had that experience too. Like, last summer we went to Texas for one of my sorority's convention, and so we decided to, like, hang out with another fraternity, and, like, we rented a boat and went to open water, and then they knew that I couldn't swim, so they put a life jacket on me and just.
I saw this on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like just dive in, and it took me 30 minutes to even get into the water, and I didn't even dive. I like
just
kind of
slowly splashed. It's just like
like using my foot, like, slowly
creeped
dipping.
in.
right. And then, like, when I got in the water, I, like, immediately started flailing.
Yeah,
and I was like,
exactly
someone save me. Yeah. And, like, they were like, you need to relax because you have a life jacket on. I was like, I don't care. I'm dying right now. Yeah. Like, I'm gonna die today.
It's I remember what happened. Like, I went in the water, and as soon as you start getting water to, like, neck level, like, this is it. This is how it ends.
You start panicking.
And you start panicking, and then you start swallowing water. Yeah. And then it just gets worse, and you start gasping, and then you just start flailing again.
I just don't like the idea that I can't touch the bottom. It's like I don't know what's underneath me, and it makes me feel very unsettled.
That bothered. That's one of the things that I'm still not over.
Right.
Because this summer we went, like, I was fine with jumping in. I put on the life vest. I actually dived into the water, which I was, like, really proud about. No lie. I dived in, and, like, I was in there, and I'm just like, there could be anything under me, and there is everything and anything under me. Yeah. Like, there's fish, there's marine life, there's, death probably. Yeah. It's just everything's there, like, and I just don't know.
Right. I just don't like the idea of uncertainty in, like, any part of life, and, like, that being in open water and so much uncertainty just really freaks me out and it scares me.
I feel that. Cause no, this is the dumbest. This is the last swimming story I'm gonna say. This is the dumbest one. Is we went tubing too, and since I had that fear, like, this is the second time I went.
Right.
So I was already over the fear of drowning, but I was still, like, in the back of my head, I still had it that, like, I wasn't, like, supposed to be in water, technically speaking, because, like, I don't know how to swim.
Right.
So we're tubing, and the thing is with tubing, I don't know if you've ever done it.
No, I have not.
Okay, so you're basically just holding on to, like, a big circle, and you're getting pulled by the boat at, like, 30 to 40 miles per hour.
Oh, wow.
But it's really fun. It's really taxing. It's honestly not as fun as it looks. Like, it's fun at first, but then it gets tiring. Right. But I was doing it, and the thing is, like, if you start flipping over, you're supposed to let go immediately.
Oh, okay.
Because if you flip over, you can't flip back over. Like, it's not like a thing where you can recover from. But dumb me, like, back of my head's like don't let go.
But you
like,
gotta hang on for your dear life.
Yeah. So I hung on, getting pulled at 40 miles per hour in a boat, and just got pulled underwater. And everyone was, like, really... They thought I was going to break my shoulders.
Right.
Because, like, I got flipped around and, like, my hands were, like above my head. And I, like, for, like, a solid 10, 15 seconds, like, I didn't let go. And it wasn't, like, because I didn't want to let go. It's just, like, I didn't think about it. Therefore, like, the idea I already had that I might drown if I let go, even though I was wearing a life vest, took over. Yeah. And I didn't let go for those 10 seconds. And then someone yelled, was like, yo, let go, you idiot. And I was like, oh, shit. Like, I should let go.
I mean, I don't think I can ever really get over this fear, to be honest. I feel like I've had too many instances in my life where I've almost drowned to the point where I'm so traumatized now that I, like, can never get over it. I've had so many people try to teach me how to swim, but it just, like...
I think you need a lot of people in shallow water. And just work your way up really slowly.
I mean, that was what high school was like. High school swim gym was like that. You work in shallow water and you work your way up. And I thought I was actually like gonna learn. And then we had a diving test, and I actually it wasn't diving test. It was just like we were just messing around. And so from the shallow end to the deep end, there's like a dip. And I didn't realize that there was an actual dip. So I like
it goes from like 0 to 100 really,
right, it's
really
just
quick,
so fast,
and it pulls you in.
Right, and I started flipping out, and the lifeguard on duty was too busy texting on his phone.
Oh my god!
So that's what got me, because all I hear is everyone screaming, but the lifeguard isn't reacting.
And you have that like muffled noise because you're underwater.
Yeah,
that's like I know exactly what you're saying.
And like in that moment, I was like, all right, today's the day that I'm gonna die. Yeah. And then like I see like my the fish hook, like there was like it's like this big fish hook that they use in my high school, and like I like see.
Did
it
you ever pass out?
Me. No, I didn't.
Okay.
But like it felt. I mean, it probably was only like 5-10 seconds, but in that moment, it felt like 15 minutes. And I saw the fish hook coming, and I grabbed onto it to dear life. And like my swim gym teacher pulled me out. And like after that, I was like, I cannot do this today. Right. Like I was like, not. No
the biggest thing for me was letting go and understanding that even if I did drown, that I mean, given like everyone that I know as a lifeguard is like, if I drown, they will save me.
Right.
Like they will like get me from the water, and like that was one of the biggest things that I like understood as like I shouldn't be scared at this point. Like yes, it's scary, but like I shouldn't be because I know that I will not die.
I should probably have that mindset, but I feel like the moment
it's difficult. Right. It's not an easy thing to do.
The moment I feel myself suffocating, it's like the end. Like there's no more, nothing else happening.
Yeah. Speaking of suffocating, how's your semester going for classes and such?
Okay, it's been I think a better semester than past semesters, but it's also my last year, so I'm trying to leave it on a good note.
Oh, leave. Okay, good. Yeah. That makes sense. So, how do you think it's difficult, or has it been easier because of the fact that you're so affiliated with like all these people in your, like your sorority, where like you guys kind of like try to work out hours and like help everyone with your schedule, like it's a sisterhood, and I mean, it's the same thing for fraternity, it's a brotherhood. It's like, do you think that has had a big impact on how your academia has gone?
I think if you find the right balance, it's a very good thing. But if you do not find the right balance, it kind of screws you over big time. I've had the taste of both sides, being someone who, like when I was when I was in the process of trying to become a sister, I like completely forgot about school, and it really screwed me over. But then after like crossing and being a part of my chapter, I learned the importance of time management and the importance of utilizing everyone's help, and so now it's not as bad. Okay,
this is actually one of the main questions that I wrote down, was that I've always wondered this because and I've had this discussion with like all the guys in my room. Like we've stayed together for the 4 years, like us since freshman year, and we're seniors now.
Yeah.
And we always wondered, it's like there's that pledging process, right? And I know you probably can't talk really like in depth about it or anything, but the general idea is like, do you think like that pledging process is like somewhat unnatural in terms of like building, because you're trying to build this camaraderie type of thing where you're trying to build a community and stuff, but like I never understood the process itself. Like why would that help you push you into more of a trusting state of mind?
I think when people hear about pledging, they kind of think about the scary things. They kind of think of like all the hazing stories and things like that. But the general gist of I think any fraternity or sorority's process is kind of not only learning about the chapter itself and their histories, traditions, things like that. It's also learning about how you are as a person and the type of person you are in all these different scenarios. I think sometimes it can seem like like you're forced into this sisterhood or brotherhood, or like you're forced into being there for one another. But like in my experience, being in the process with my 5 other like pledge sisters or line sisters, it really shaped me to be a better person, and kind of it helped me realize the strength that I have. Right. And that I'm like you guys, like
it's same idea.
Right. Like you guys have been roommates or like friends for 4 years now, and like you guys can depend on each other. When you're in a class that's going through the same process, you have to depend on each other. Yeah. And it's like the same scenario, but I guess a little bit different.
Right. Do you think it's more common for those who maybe can't find the right people, because like our room got really lucky with the people that we were put into a living situation with. It was all random, none of us knew each other, and it happened to pan out that all of us like would like each other, or we're in the same like state of mind. Do you think it's more common for those who couldn't find that, and like couldn't find people that would support them to go out of their way to find somewhere where they would fit in? Because like I know you came from a high school that had a lot of people,
right?
It's not like you didn't have friends. You knew people that were here, and I mean you knew us, and, and like all that. But like at the same time, you made that decision to transfer over into like being part of Greek life.
Yeah, I think it's common for anyone who like if they come to college and they don't like have kind of like a backbone or like a support team. Like you guys, like you said, you guys got very lucky with your room selection. But if you aren't someone who isn't so lucky, like definitely most people from what I've seen, like you would resort to trying to find your place on campus. So it's like whether it's through a club or an organization or just something else. But it really depends for everyone. I think Greek life isn't for everyone.
Right.
Me personally, I came into college very not against it, but I was.
Yeah, I remember your freshman year. Like you weren't against it, but you were definitely neutral.
Right.
It's like. Like I guess it doesn't really like you didn't really know. But...
Yeah, like I had people in my life that joined Greek life. Like they're older than me that had joined Greek life, and they would tell me about it.
You'd
like,
see the change in them.
Yeah, and like I mean, some of them changed for good, some of them changed for worse. Right. But I came into college kind of very like indifferent about it. Like kind of like like if I decide to go out and meet these girls, then fine. But I wasn't like I definitely wasn't one of those people that was like I'm coming into college, I'm definitely joining a sorority. Right. And so when like to this day when I think back on it, it still kind of surprises me that I'm in a sorority because it's not like my
You think it's out of character a little?
Yeah, a little bit because I'm the type of girl who hangs out with like guys mostly. It's very hard for me to relate with girls. I don't like dealing with girl drama, like things like catty things like that. I mean like when I'm like when I used to be in your suite, it's all
you, guys.
Yeah, right. It's all you guys, and like I feel more comfortable like like around guys because there's none of that like
there's
pettiness.
no drama. There's no drama.
Like if you guys have an issue with each other, you just say it out loud.
Tell it to each other's face.
Right, like no one's passive.
Yeah.
But like
no, we've had really quick. I want to go into the story we've been having. So the girls' room, the girls who live in West F, they've also been suite mates for 4 years, other than 2 who joined later on. But like they have this problem all the time where no one cleans the dishes in their kitchen. Right. And the thing is, like they've had this conversation with us because our kitchen. I don't know if you saw our kitchen when you walked in, but it's relatively clean. Everything's where it should be, and it's like you can get to whatever you want at any time. Whereas them, it's like their dishes aren't done or like the sink is clogged, and it's like they'll tell us like how they're trying to approach it, and it's always so like passive. Like they won't. And I don't want to like make it stereotypical or like just generalize the gender like that, but like they're like from anecdotes of like what I've seen from their room, like they don't tell each other to their face.
No, they don't.
Or like they just try to kind of beat around the bush and like get it to get done without quote unquote hurting someone's feelings.
Right. Like I think with girls, like at least from my experience with the girls I have in my life, like no one likes to tell each other things straight to their face, like because everyone's worried about like she might like her feelings might get hurt, she might think I'm a bitch, like things like that. Like I feel like with guys, like if you guys have a problem with each other, you just say it up front. To each other's
face.
Like if someone in your suite wasn't cleaning the dishes, you'd be like, hey.
No,
like,
I've done that many times.
Like your dishes are in the sink, like wash your fucking dishes.
Why do you think that's more of a common occurrence?
I think because like
do you think it's because it's just because that's not a question you can really generalize. I mean that's like very very. Like this is a problematic question. And like,
right.
If you hear me talking, like I'm trying my best not to say it in a way where I'd offend anyone here.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to do.
I think
it's really easy to do that nowadays.
I think it's because society has trained males to not talk about their feelings, so you're not as worried, right, about like each other's feelings, so to speak. But like with girls, like our norm is our emotions. Like that's all like when you think of a girl, it's like no,
it's true.
It's all about emotions. Like she on her period. Like why is she so sad today? Like things like that. So I feel like because of that, when girls have issues with each other, they don't tell each other up front.
Yeah, because me and someone had talked about this where it's like girls are a lot harsher to other girls than they are to anyone else.
Yes.
But at the same time, they're also nicer to other girls than they are to anyone else.
Right.
And like the thing when it comes to like nicer, like if you've ever seen an Instagram post and it's like a girl and she posted something and it's like new and it's like cool, it's a good pic, it's like there's always another friend that'll be like, oh, like you slay me, like you're killing it, and it's like they'll always have that comment. Whereas a guy, if you see a guy comment on a guy post like, oh, you look like a faggot, you look like stupid, you know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
And it's like there's always like that's difference has always been there. I've always seen that.
And at the same time, like you said before, like girls will be harsher to each other behind each other's back. Yeah. Like, I've heard, like, a girl say the meanest things about another girl to like, the person she's ranting to. But in front of this other girl's face, she'll act completely nice and completely friendly and be like, oh my god, let's go get lunch, let's go catch up. And it always baffles me, which is why, like, I like hanging out with guys more because, like, I don't understand why anyone would, like, want to waste their time doing that, because, like, you should just be upfront. Like, you know, if you don't want this person in your life, just don't have them in your life. Like, it just makes your own life a lot easier.
I don't know. Some people are just, they don't make sense.
No,
it's okay. So you have, sorority life, you have a bunch of girls together now, and you're all sisters, right? So there has to be drama.
Oh, there's always drama. There's always drama. Whether it's something as minor as, like, oh, someone came late to this event, or something as big as, like, oh, someone said this about someone else. I think like, people like to think, like, you know, fraternities and sororities don't have drama. Like,
no, but I mean, if you ever put two people in any situation, it's inevitable that they're going to have a conflict of interest.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like, when you have, like, let's say, like, an active house of, like, 50 girls, like, there's no way that, like, I mean, if you guys are able to have an active house of, like, 58 girls and, like, no one can butt heads, everyone's friendly, then, like, by all means, like, props to you. Right. But, like, from what I've seen, there will always be at least two people that do not get along. Right. And that's just how life is. But you just have to learn to navigate through that and not let it like destroy the entire base that it's built upon. Right, because, like, the common goal that we always tell each other is that, like, if there's an issue, do not forget that you guys all like, you know, pledge for the same sorority, right? You guys are all wearing the same letters, and you guys are all here for the same reason. So don't let that take away from your experience of Greek life, because then it ruins it for yourself. Right. To
quote High School Musical, we're all in this together.
Yeah.
I know you wanted to avoid that one, but I was going
to it's literally like that, like, as lame as that sounds.
Okay, so another thing is, so you're part of a sorority that is, I'd say, if not majority, almost 100% Asian.
Yes.
And I mean, given that you are, you know, from an Asian background, it's like, do you think that it has a huge impact on the way, like, the kind of functioning of the people within the sorority is? Do you think it'd be easier or more difficult to be in a part of a Greek life where everyone was, you know, from the same background?
I mean, I think it's a very subtle thing, but it's a subtle thing that kind of helps the sorority, I guess. I mean, right now, my personal active house is not completely Asian, but the majority of us are. But, like, my sorority itself is, like, other chapters that I have are, like, they're very diverse in their chapters. I think the reason, like, one of the reasons why our particular chapter isn't like that is due to the demographic on this campus. Right. That, you know, we just aren't exposed to that many other, like, races. And in addition, like, those particular races might find themselves drawn to their own races, like, fraternity
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy where it's like, it's already this group of people and it's just building upon itself. Right, and because of the campus, like, it's difficult for quote-unquote outsiders to kind of join in. Right. But, I mean, I think it's very common where people that are from the same ethnicity, like ethnic background, like me being someone who's Bengali, like I've gotten jobs just because I'm Bengali, and I think that's just like there's an unspoken understanding of like, oh, like I get what you're from, you know, like your background, and I think that definitely may have had an impact on like the functioning of your group.
I think when you're from the same background, you kind of have the same struggles. You kind of understand like what you guys are going through, like as a chapter that's like majority of us are Asian, we often like struggle with the fact that like we're like the quote unquote model minority, and like we understand each other's feelings when like we get an 80 on a test and like as stereotypical as it sounds, like, and not be happy about that 80 and like cry about it to each other that like, oh man, like I didn't get the 100 I wanted, or I didn't get the A.
Yeah, that sounds like our room.
Yeah, like it's subtle things, but it's definitely there, but like no one will point it out. Right. You know, because then it's like something that's gonna unspoken.
It's unspoken, yeah.
Right.
So you said you have there are other chapters of your sorority that are more diverse.
Yes.
Have probably larger population. And do you think that you've seen a difference in like their like kind of not functioning, but like just the way that they kind of work together, or like, you know, the way things go versus your chapter here?
I think maybe for the other chapters that are more diverse, they have a lot, like they have different like events or workshops, because they have different minds of different backgrounds coming together to like have all these events or like ideas for the chapter to grow. But I think for my own particular chapter, because we are all from the same like background, like most of us are, like the events and things that we gear towards are things that we personally struggle with.
Right.
So we feel more like drawn to like want to work on those things.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the last question that's sorority based, because like I actually covered almost everything here, but like, do you think you regret your decision? Probably not, but like, I mean, I have to ask. Like,
no, I mean, that's fine. I mean, to be completely honest, there are days where you feel like you regret it. I won't lie. There was an instance in my time as a sister where I was kind of like, oh, I'm so done with this shit. Like, I don't want to deal with it anymore. Like, I wanted to, like, drop my letters and, like, you know, go, like, the extreme route would be, like, to drop your letters and, like, become completely dissociated.
Drop your letter. Okay.
Right, like, where you become just, like, completely dissociated with, like, the organization itself. I think everyone has those times and everyone has those days. Some, I guess, more extreme than others, because I have known sisters that have disassociated themselves from our organization. But in those...
Do you know anyone that has ever done that?
I have. Not personally, but, like, I know
like,
people...
know stories of...
Right. I've heard stories of people who have, like, dissociated, and, like, they had their own... Like, you know, I don't know the particular reasons why they have, but I'm sure they had their own personal reasons for, like, why they wanted to. But for myself personally, there has been moments where I felt that way, and I was very frustrated and didn't want to deal with it anymore. But in those moments, what I generally do is I reach out to my non-Greek friends. Because I think when you're in Greek life, it's important for you to have people who are not in Greek life.
Right.
Because
get third-person perspective
on
things.
Otherwise, you'll never find that balance in your life, because you spend so much of your time like in Greek life. I'm also someone who's very active in my Greek life, and I mean there are people.
What role are you in it now? Well, I remember you were going to be. I don't know if president is the right term, but like...
last semester I held the Ebor position. This semester I'm not holding an Ebor position, but I recently held a position that was important, like important enough. I don't know if I can, like, if I say it, I don't know if I'll give my identity away.
No, you just keep going.
Okay, but like the position I recently, like the chair that I hold this semester is a chair that's important for in terms of the national end. So it was something that was like very time consuming.
Okay.
A lot of
I've seen you at the library and you're just working. I'll be like, oh, what are you doing?
Yeah,
class?
I'll be like,
on
sorority stuff. Right. I always put myself into like kind of more ambitious positions because I want to make my mark in my chapter.
Right.
But at the same time, I will also get stressed out from those positions or from like things.
It's like, is this even worth it sometimes?
Right. Sometimes I'll be like, oh man, like why did I decide to be ambitious? Like why did I decide to hold the equal position when like I should be worrying about maybe like 10 other things?
Yeah, like school.
Right.
Because
like,
I mean that's another constant struggle that you're dealing with at the same time.
Because you're here for school, you're not here for anything else. But sometimes the line gets hazy, like between I should be spending more time at school, but I'm also spending a lot more time here.
Right.
I think for anyone who wants to join Greek life, I think it's a decision that you cannot make on a whim, and it's also a decision that you have to make completely on your own.
Right.
Because I've known people that have
gotten like pushed into it a little bit.
Right, like they were influenced by someone else, or they were influenced by someone saying like, "Oh, if you decide to join Greek life, I'll be your big brother, or I'll be your big sister."
Oh, it's like you get enticed by that.
Right. You're like, "Oh man, like I want you to be like this mentor in my life." So you enter it, and then you realize that you like absolutely hate it. Like you find nothing in common with these group of people, or you can't find yourself getting along with them, or like it's just not the right thing for you. And like, as someone who has gone through those moments where it's like, "Oh, I really regret it." But then be able to bounce back. After those moments, when I bounce back, I kind of appreciate it more because it's like I kind of remind myself
like I have this, you know?
Right? Like there was a reason why I decided to do it. And
but what was the reason that you decided? So what do you think the turning point was in your decision making to like finally, you know, decide that you wanted to start this like this kind of change in your life?
I think it might have been because I've never had a lot of girl support in my life, and I'm someone who like is all about like, you know, like feminism and all those things, but but at the same time I'm someone who doesn't hang out with a lot of girls in my life. I think like the draw of sisterhood is definitely there. Like, when you see these group of girls like all together, all like knit tight, and they're all like laughing and like they eat together, they study together.
Right.
You want to be a part of that. You want to have like that kind of group to go to. But I think
mean, that's how our group. Like I don't want to. I hate talking about our group all the time.
No,
but, like,
it's fine.
The thing is like I can see what like a lot of people love hanging out with us, and it's like I understand like like it's hard to get that many people together and like just all having a good time. It's like a lot of people don't have that, and if you can find that and you fit in, like you know, you want that to be there.
Yeah. I think it's like your suite is kind of like in itself like an own version of a fraternity.
Yeah, and I think that's a big reason why none of us ever got enticed by it.
Right, because you have that camaraderie.
I know. I like that word. That's why I use it a lot.
Yeah, and you have that, like, I guess, like, in your own way, your brotherhood.
Yeah. But like, I mean, that's a big part of a lot of the podcasts that I listen to through Joe Rogan. I mean, a lot of people that are there, they talk about people who are in states of depression or upset or, like, genuinely, like, just don't like the way things are going. And a big factor in that is a lot of times those people don't have other people. They don't have friends. They don't have people to fall back on. And I mean, without that, like, if you become isolated, and as soon as you're isolated, you start, you know, losing kind of like your mental stability in a sense.
Like, I feel like being in a sorority helps not only like my own like physical state and all that things, but more than anything, it helps my mental state, although at times it does make it worse.
Right.
But as a whole, it makes it better. It makes college a little easier for me because I have these girls. Right. Like, I have people always by my side. Like, if it's not like the majority of my chapter, at the very least, I'll always have like my pledge class because we went through everything together. Okay. And we have that sense of camaraderie with each other.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. So yeah, I honestly, like, I expected a lot of those answers.
Yeah, I mean, it's very stereotypical.
It is, but like, I mean, that makes sense, and it is realistic, and it's a decision that you made and something that has impacted your life. And I just like wanted to get, you know, your perspective, because I can only assume. I don't know. It's not, you know, me. I haven't been put into that position. Right. So I mean, you know, questions that I wanted to know. I
mean, like, I don't want to make. I know right now, like, I've said a lot of positive things, but by no means is Greek life in any form like always like rainbows and butterflies. You will always have bumps. You will always have moments where like things are not going right, and you're kind of like, what the fuck is going on, right? Yeah. But I feel like that happens with anything in life, like whether it's your job or another club that you join. But Greek life is just sometimes, I guess, a little more extreme in those areas. So, which is why, like I said, like if you decide to go into Greek life, it's something that you really have to think about. Yeah.
And I mean, that's the reason why I wanted you as one of the people that's on, you know, this podcast. Is like, the point of this is like to get, you know, word of like people who like made these big decisions that have changed, you know, aspects of their life, because this has completely changed like your entire college career.
Yes, it did.
It kind of took over. Like, I mean, it became your priority. Right. So right next to school, it was sorority. And that's a big thing that like a lot of people don't like think about, especially if you're a freshman. If you're a freshman, you don't know what you're doing. Right. You know, like, we're seniors now, and we still barely know what we're doing, but now we acknowledge that we're trying to figure it out. But when you're a freshman, you're lost. Like, you are literally still a child.
I think a lot of like freshmen that come into like college, they have this misconception about like Greek life. They think like, oh, like all you guys do is like party and like chill out with each other. But like, there's a lot of background work that goes into it. You guys, like, you're gonna hold your events, you're gonna hold your workshops. There's a lot of like professionalism and philanthropic things that you do that most people do not see until they get into it. They don't think about it. Right. And then they're like, oh crap, I didn't realize like it's
like I have like, this is a job. This is a part-time job.
There's duties that I have to do.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm gonna throw it back now to your major and stuff. To like wrap it up. So what do you want to do with a psychology degree? So you said working with children and criminals, right? So like, that's kind of vague. But like, so like, after your undergraduate, what do you think your next goal is going to be?
So this is actually something that I've been like thinking about every day.
Oh yeah, obviously you're a senior. Yeah. You're just like any other senior.
Yeah, I mean, I'm planning to definitely go to graduate school. I just have not decided whether I want to take a gap year before I go, because unfortunately my resume is very lacking in experience right now in my particular field, like my particular major. I have not done any research, and that's something that's like a big no-no in psychology. Like, you have to do research. You have to do like internships. But I've been putting like my job like first instead of all these other things that I should be doing to boost my resume for that.
What job?
I work at like a prep school.
Oh, okay.
Right.
I mean, you need money.
No, yeah. But I think after like going to grad school, my main interest is like we talked about earlier, like the developing mind
of children.
Or criminals, because it just intrigues me how someone like a criminal can be so different from the normal population. And I know it's because, like, you know, there's a lot of research like, oh, because they lack empathy, things like that. But it's like, is it really just all that? Right. Like, I feel like there has to be something bigger than this.
I mean, no, I will go into this topic forever, because it's not like, for me, I guess psychology, but like more on, because I've taken a lot of philosophy courses, and you know, like, I talk about philosophy like a lot, and I've talked about it on this podcast a couple of times, and it's just like, that's just something I really like, is philosophy may be dumb at times, and it's like a feedback loop, and it constantly kind of says the same things over and over again. But the thing that I really like about it is that it puts you in this like questioning state of mind. So you kind of try to think of things from another person's perspective. Right. The biggest thing is trying to understand subjectivity. In our like life, in our world, like everything is an approximate objectivity. So everything that's is the truth is a general approximation of all the people around us, and we try to get an idea of what the true truth is by like general like majority vote, and I mean that's how every system works. But the thing is like there's always going to be an outlier, and the thing is like I feel like today, there's more and more outliers, especially because of media. Like you get to see all of these different types of people doing like things wrong, or like like it just stands out every time. Like anytime like a crime occurs against what am I thinking? But anything that occurs on the spectrum of Black Lives Matter, like you'll see it on the media immediately. Yeah. But the thing is like that stat is also skewed, and like a lot of people don't get that like that aspect of the story. And it's like everything that occurs, there's multiple sides to it. There's you have to try to understand the situation from every aspect, and psychology is definitely something that I feel as though like you're trying to kind of figure out all sides of the cube. Right.
Like, in no ways do I mean, like, I want to... Like, in no ways do I mean, like, oh, like, we should, like, I guess, like, quote-unquote, give these criminals, like, a second chance or anything like that. Because, I'm they've done horrendous things. But
why?
It's intriguing to learn why, because I feel like once you learn why, then you're able, you can help those people, or at least avoid those issues when it does come up.
Yeah, that's a big problem that the U.S. has is incarceration rates. Is that our main focus in our criminal system is more leaned towards incarceration and arresting people with jail time versus rehabilitation and like helping them and try to figure out what the problem is before it even occurs. And I don't know, I feel as though like that's such a large scale problem. I don't know how you'd like start fixing that, but people like you that go into that position.
Like I feel like it's just like putting a Band-Aid over a wound. So, like, it's not gonna actually fix the wound, right? Because once you take it off, it's still there. The scar is still there. And I feel like that's probably like the main reason why I went to psychologist, because like there are a lot of things that like I feel like could be fixed if you just kind of took the time to understand people a little bit more.
Right.
Like whether it's like criminals or like even children, just like. Sometimes I feel like we don't give children enough credit because they're kids, right? Like, oh, they don't know what they're doing. But, like, sometimes there is a lot of things we can learn from them. And because we don't...
I mean, there's this one quote, and I quote Rogan all the time, but there's this one quote. He said that he started changing as soon as he had a child because he stopped looking at adults as people, like, as adults. Yeah. He started looking at them as, like, little kids that are just in adult bodies.
Yeah.
And, like, I really took that to heart, especially because, again, I have a little sister. So, like, I, like, realized, like, every single thing that has happened in that person's life has molded them to become who they are. It's they can try their best to change, and, like, we're saying with, like, the stress and anxiety thing of, like, genetic predisposition. It's like a person can try their best, but they won't be able to change until they can truly understand and think about the things they do before they do them, which is not something that's very easy to do.
And I feel like with kids, like one of the other things that like intrigue me about them is like one of the biggest things I've learned from working with kids and being around kids is that not everything is serious in life. Like not everything is a teachable moment. Like when I see kids like if like let's say like a kid like does something wrong, like my immediate instinct is to lecture them and be like, oh, you messed up, you did this wrong, right? But then I kind of realized like maybe to them it's not wrong because of so and so other factors, right? Like maybe it was an accident, maybe to them it's like their own effect.
That's 100% what I started doing is at first, whenever my sister do something wrong, I was like, you can't do that. And the thing is, she would consistently argue with me.
Yes.
Because she's like, she thinks she's doing something right. So what I started doing instead is I'd question everything.
Right.
I'd keep asking why or how or what, and she'd just eventually get confused, couldn't support, because she's a 4-year-old or 5-year-old. She can't support her argument. So she'll be like, oh, I guess that didn't make sense. And like by me questioning her, she was able to find that answer herself instead of me trying to push an answer onto her. And then she's just like, oh, like, no, like, I don't want to listen to you.
Yeah. I feel like there's just a lot of things you can learn from other like people from like different spectrums, like being a criminal or being a child, because as we grow up we kind of forget about things that like we embraced as kids, and as we become adults we kind of focus too much on like having a future, being successful, all those things, and forgetting that there's so much more to life than what society says we have to obtain.
Yeah. This is another quote. I've said this before too, is that a lot of people, humans in particular, like those who are, going into the workforce, like you're saying, people who are getting tied up in like making money, living. They're forgetting the being in human being, and I love saying that. It's just like, and again, like going back to like the philosophy stuff, it's like people don't have like the luxury or the time or the leisure to think about things like that. But I mean, it's an important aspect of life to like really just sit back and think sometimes.
Yeah, a lot of us just kind of live to live.
Yeah.
Like we don't actually
just keep going.
Right. We don't actually enjoy the experience. We don't actually like I feel like a lot of us, like, if we look back, like, when we're 80, we're going to be like, what the fuck did we do with our lives?
Exactly. And that's why, like, I don't want... That's the last thing I want, is that a feeling of regret at any point in my life. And the reason I'm picking up my phone is I want to find this quote.
No, it's fine. It's like, you don't want to look back and be like, all I did was work a 9 to 5 in a cubicle. And
exactly.
With my life, you know what I mean?
I never regret. So one of the quotes that I posted today on my Instagram was, identify your problems, but give your power and energy to solutions. It's a Tony Robbins quote. And I love Tony Robbins because, like, he's... As dumb as it may sound, and like how a lot of people aren't like really advocates of motivational speakers, Tony Robbins is someone who puts a science behind motivational speaking. Like he like really like can identify the problems and justify like what to fix. Like he understands that, and it's a thing that a lot of people can't do is you can identify a problem at any time. So like I've always had issues, and like I can figure it out what it is, and like I can get mad at it, I can get upset about it, but like actually just figuring out and then finding the solution, that's the hard part. Is trying to understand the why and like what you can do about it.
I mean, I think the quote is very true because we spend the majority of our time and our energy just focused on the problem. And dwelling on like how it makes us upset, why it makes us upset, instead of taking that time and energy
being proactive.
And be like, well, instead of me sitting here moping about it, let me try to do something about it and fix it.
I do that constantly for my math class. I have a math test next Tuesday, and I'm 6 lectures behind.
Oh no!
And I was just constantly, I'm like, man, I should have learned, and like I'm just like, damn, like I messed up. But like this week especially, like I've been like trying again to I always try to force myself to be in a good attitude because I I do the thing where it's like I tell myself things I should be happy about and all that stuff, and it's like as cliche as it sounds, like it helps a lot. If you wake up every single morning and you're like, I'm grateful for all this stuff and like I can do this, and you tell yourself like you can do these things,
you feel better.
It pushes you forward. Your mentality kind of projects what you want to become. Which is really important. I've been doing that again this week, and like I have 4 or 5, 6, I think like 6 days, 7 days. Yeah, it's a week from today.
You can take every day. You can have a lecture.
So what I did was I pulled out my notepad and I wrote down, so I need to do these lectures every single day. Put a plan of action behind what I need to do. And I'll be like, I need to do this, and that's it.
See, that's why you have a great mentality to life.
I guess, but then there are other days where I bug out and I hate everything.
I mean, it's a learning process.
It is a learning process.
And that's the only way it prepares you for the real world, to be honest.
That's
how it is.
And I really think that living on campus is one of the most important things that a person could do. I think it's a very good middle ground to learn how to be an adult, but at the same time not be an adult.
It gives you a taste of independence.
Because someone else is paying for it, but you're living it.
True. I mean, it's like you're home away from home.
I'm not looking forward to going back home. It's gonna suck. But on that note, thank you for being here.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
See, I don't know why you were worrying about having conversations. It's been 42 minutes, not an issue. So
I don't know. I'm so awkward sometimes, you know?
You're fine. All right, peace out, guys. Thanks for listening.